Before we go to Brittany, who's on the line in Fort Knox, Kentucky. Brittany, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. It's great to talk to you. I've been listening to you since the Catalyst days, and no student loans was the path I've taken.
Oh, you feel my angst today, don't you, Brittany?
I do. So I'm about 3 to 4 years out, actually, from retiring from the Army as an Army officer.
Oh, awesome.
And I have a pretty solid idea of the type of work I'd like to do when I retire, and even several companies that I'm very interested in because I'm really looking at culture. It's huge to me, and I'm not going to sacrifice that in my civilian job.
Nice.
My question is, how do you gain proximity when, thanks to military moves every 2 to 3 years, I'm not proximate, and most of my network is either still military or in some sort of government or defense contracting, which I'm absolutely not interested in.
Right. However, let's start with that current network where you're extensively connected. Those people in the military do know people in the civilian life. Yes or no?
That's true.
That is true. So you're starting with a broad network because you've been in the Army so long. So it starts with, who do I know? That's the first question. Instead of canceling those people out because they all wear a uniform or have worn a uniform, you go, okay, that's who I know. That's a big portion of who you know. It's not everybody, but that's a big portion. But who do they know? Well, now they know people in the private sector. So since you have a very clear idea, or at least several clear ideas of the industry you want to be in and the types of companies, so you know you have 3 to 4 years. And so, you know, you're building connections. You've got a chance to kind of lay out, if you will, a game plan. And so when I get in my last year, I'm going to start making connections, you know, or what relationships can I begin building in these 3 to 4 years out? And then when I get to year, you know, that final year countdown clock begins, that's when you're really starting to get more aggressive and you're saying, hey, just so you know, I'm less than a year out. This is launch day when I walk out and retire, and you know, then 6 months out, maybe you're applying. So you build this plan. So right now, you're only thinking about making connections in the industry you want to be in, and then depending on where you are, like for instance, are you going to stay in your current location at Fort Knox and for the next 3 to 4 years, or will you be transferred?
Oh no, I'll be moving.
Yeah,
so at least once, if not twice.
Yeah, but here's what's great. The way I look at your situation is not a hindrance. I think it's a bonus. So I'm going to really challenge your perspective. How many different places have you been stationed in your service?
Oh goodness, it'd take me a bit.
Just ballpark.
7, going on 7, and probably 9 by the time I retire.
So Brittany, you have 9 bases, not military bases. You have 9 connection bases. That's a lot more than I have. I've not lived in 9 cities. You have. It's not like you're just completely on the base and you don't have any kind of civilian contact.
That's true.
Oh, I know. So let me just, for a fun exercise, what would be the top 3 places you've been stationed? I'm not holding you to this. Don't think too hard. Just split them out.
Joint Base Lewis McChord near Olympia, Washington.
Yep.
Probably here at Fort Knox, Kentucky,
Yep.
and then Fort Hood, Texas.
Okay. Now, if I'm you, I go, okay, these are my top 3 places I've been stationed. So that's one list. And just for fun, I'd go, okay, if I was going to return to any one of these cities in places where I've enjoyed living, which of the 3 do I like the most? And then you rank those. Then you start going, okay, who do I know from those places? And if you're not doing a good job connecting when you're there, you need to start. You still got a few more places you might go to. And so you get off the base and you make good connections and you look for who's doing what you want to be doing, meaning you know the industry you want to be in, which is what?
Oh, well, I'm looking at leader, organizational development, coaching, or like talent acquisition, recruiting, and training.
Yeah, so now you've got this list of places you've lived that you liked. You probably have some other cities that you might like to live in. What's going to be your decision-making factor? Are you going to pick a place, a city, now that you've retired from the military, and then say, I'm going to go try to find something there? Or are you going to look for the right type of company in those industries you just listed, and then just whatever may come, that's what I'm going to do? I'm not hung up on where I live, the zip code.
Oh, yeah, we're going to look very much at the companies because the culture and the mission matter.
Right. So here's my point. You have all of these different connection points from all these places you've been in. And, you know, the military leadership is very respected. I think your resume is going to look really, really nice having been in the military. So what can you do as it relates to certifications, things that you can get between now and retirement day that are qualifications. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you walk out day one with all these leadership coaching. Maybe you can get a certification as a leadership coach, or maybe, you can do some other things. But I want you to be sitting down with recruiters in Fort Knox. I want you to sit down with folks that are in leadership development in Fort Knox, Kentucky, and the surrounding areas. Have coffee with them. Take them to lunch. It is the proximity principle. It's the very beginning steps. I want to get around people that are doing what I want to do. Get in places where what I want to do is happening. When you have some off time from the military, go to some conferences where these people are hanging out. Do you understand? You can do all of that in the next 3 to 4 years and absolutely hyperload your connections.
Yeah, I get that. I've got a couple of certifications, in fact, scheduled doing just that. So that's good encouragement that I'm at least thinking the right way.
You're absolutely doing everything you need to do. Just get out there and connect. Get in proximity to people that are doing it and get in places where it's happening. Start identifying companies that you'd be interested in. And as you get closer, start reaching out to them. But I mean, this is good. You're doing everything the right way. And by the way, Brittany, thank you for your service. We very much appreciate you and the other men and women who serve our country.
Oh, proud to serve. It's a privilege myself.
Oh, Brittany, good stuff. Brittany's going to do it. I love that question. How do I get in proximity when I'm moving around all the time? Are you kidding me? I got to come up with an analogy, Joe. It's like, I got one. I don't know how good this is, but it's on the cuff, so you people are just going to have to deal with it. When we were kids, I remember my first home, we had a little flat area down at the bottom of a hill. Our backyard was basically a hill, Joe. You had about, 10 yards, and then it was a steep hill, and at the bottom there was this flat area, and it was heavily wooded. And in this clearing area at night in the summertime and in the late spring, fireflies were everywhere. I mean, you could sit at the top of the hill, and it was like looking up into the stars. So my dad or my mom, I can't remember which, got this idea one time to get me and my brother butterfly nets. You know what I mean? And I'll never forget. He's like, just get that thing and just, start trying to swoop them. So I go out there and I'm trying to, stab in the air. Picture me. I'm kind of throwing this thing in the air and trying to get these fireflies, see how many I could catch. And I look over my brother, who's 3.5 years younger than me, and he's running like a wild man, just running in a straight line with his net held out. And would you know, he got more than I did. This is what the proximity principle is. Like, if you're just trying to get started, go where the fireflies are and get a net out and run in a straight line, and stuff's just going to get in your net. You know what I mean? This is activity. My brother had it figured out. I'm out there like a moron jumping up in the air and trying to, chase and dodge and, catch these little bugs. And he's just straight up, running down and he's picking up fireflies. So that's how the proximity principle works. In Brittany's situation, and some of you like that, that's what you have to do. Just get in the right place, get the old net out, and walk straight forward. Stuff's going to get in the net. Why? Because you're where all the fireflies are.